Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episodes 40 and 41 of The Loud House Season 2. We're only doing 2 episodes today, but there is a reason for that. I have been told, and I don't consider this a spoiler because this is actually kind of important to figuring out exactly when reactions are, or how they're going to be handled and everything and set up. I have been told that one of these episodes is a two-parter. Or rather, not a two-parter. No, wrong word. Sorry, not a two-parter. That one of these episodes is double length. And you would think that I would consider that a spoiler, considering that probably means it's going to be either a big episode or at least a special. But the reason, again, that I don't, at least with this show, is because, again, it helps me figure out exactly how many episodes I'm going to react to. Because if one of these episodes is a double-length episode, that means it basically takes up the spot of 2. So instead of 3 episodes this week, I'm only doing 2 episodes. Understand? Understandable enough? At least for this show and probably OKKO, as long as you don't tell me any information about it, just like say, oh, it happens to be double length or whatever, that's fine. That's fine. Just do not tell me any information. Do not tell me if it is a big episode or a special or whatever, holiday kind of thing, maybe. Don't tell me that kind of stuff. Because I know nothing else about these episodes today. I know nothing else about them other than that one of them, the first one I believe that I have here, is some kind of double length episode, whether a special or some big event or whatnot. I don't know, but yeah. We are getting near the end of the season, though. I think there's only going to be 2 more weeks of episode reactions for this. And so I want to reiterate what we're doing with that. So after Season 2 of The Loud House is finished, after we finish with Season 2 of The Loud House, we are going to be taking a break from The Loud House. I don't know exactly how long, but we will be taking a break. In the Tuesday spot, we will start continuing on with OKKO Season 1. Once we finish Season 1 of OKKO, we might go back to Season 3 of Loud House at that point, or we might do something else. We'll see at that point. But yeah, the idea here is that we are going to be taking a break one way or the other from Loud House after we finish Season 2 here. But yeah, we still got a couple more weeks to go after this week. So we're still good. And I am really enjoying the series, especially now that it's really starting to get a foothold of what it's trying to do. So I like that. There's still a couple things I'm not hugely fond of. Like sometimes the characters act way out of their age range. And I'm not even talking about obviously Lisa, who's a kindergartner who has the mental capacity of a college professor, at the least. Let's be honest. No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about in terms of social situations and just the way they generally act. And that especially rings true with animal and baby characters, such as, the Loud family baby, whose name I cannot think of. I can never remember her name. I don't like how sometimes the baby seems like she has more intelligence than the parents. She just seems... I've never been fond of intelligent baby characters. It doesn't work in my eyes. Part of the appeal of babies, whether in real life or as characters, is that they aren't intelligent. It's that they are immature. That they're babies. That is their appeal. So it's just I've never understood why so many shows do this. But then there's other little things here and there that I'm not as fond of still, but things are getting a lot better, especially with divvying up the sisters to their own episodes and everything. Episodes that focus almost entirely on them, and with very little to even no Lincoln focus at all. So I can appreciate that they're doing more of this. I like that the parents are getting plenty of character and plenty of time as well. And I'm excited to see what we've got. So yeah, I know nothing about these episodes. But for this first episode, which again I believe is the double length one, I was told as well that the very end of the opening is slightly different, and that I should check it out. So that will be in the reaction as well. It's the very end of the opening. I don't know how it's different. I don't know like what my friend meant by different. Like she just told me like it's different. Check it out for your reaction. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Um, and I don't consider that a spoiler here because that has nothing, well, pretty much nothing to do with the episode. It'll probably hint to something that's in the episode, but again, that could mean anything. So, but yeah, I'm excited to get to this. So we have these 2 episodes, and there's some few other things I want to record today, so we should probably get on this. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts. And will contain spoilers to the episodes. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so 2 very good episodes. Yeah, this show has definitely hit its stride, and I can really appreciate that. It's not necessarily my favorite show ever or anything. I wouldn't put it in my top 10 currently. But I would say that it's definitely getting up there for me. It's definitely starting to really improve and impress. So our first episode was the Halloween special, Tricked. So Lincoln and Clyde are trying to get into this rich neighborhood in order to get these full-sized candy bars. Meanwhile, Lucy and a lot of the other siblings, not all of them, some of them are going trick-or-treating, but a lot of the others are helping with Lucy's corn maze, this haunted corn maze. And of course, we have the twins trying to use multiple costumes to go trick-or-treating, while Lisa is just using the element of cuteness. So we got a few things going on, but it all meshes very well together. The big things to note are, of course, what Lincoln and Clyde are doing, and then what the sisters are doing. Just kind of splitting it off that way, so that's how we're going to handle it. I apologize for this light changes. My camera does that, and I have no idea why. Either way, so with Lincoln and Clyde's part, so yeah, they find out there's this rich neighborhood that has all of this candy, and there's 2 kids there who look suspiciously just like them. And at first I was thinking this is kind of going to go to a Prince and the Pauper kind of reference, but instead it's like they just took their identity to get in. And they got into the neighborhood, and, you know, they got their candy. Then they got out, and everything worked basically perfectly. Until they get back. Because, see, before they went, they were approached by these 2 bullies who were like, oh, tell us where the best neighborhood is with the best candy. And so they are trying to dissuade these 2 from going to the rich neighborhood, because that's where they want to go. So Lincoln sends them to his own street. So after getting the candy, they bury it to try and make sure they keep it to themselves. And get back to the neighborhood where they found out that everything's gone bad. The 2 bullies had TP'd the neighborhood, had destroyed all the jack-o'-lanterns, and basically driven away all of the trick-or-treaters. Nobody's gone through the haunted corn maze that Lucy was so excited about. And so Lincoln and Clyde end up putting together this plan to get back at the bullies as well as to help out Lucy, which is fantastic. I love that it solves both issues in one go. Um, so they get the bullies to chase them into the haunted corn maze because they trick the bullies into thinking that they have milk chocolate, which the bullies apparently really like. So they're chasing the corn maze where Lucy and all the others put on the festivities, along with a phenomenal song by Luna, and we get to see all these fun little scares and stuff. And you know what it kind of made me think of? It wasn't completely the same, but it kind of reminded me for some reason of the Terror Time montage from Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. If you remember that, there's this one scene in Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, best Scooby-Doo movie, by the way, where the gang are running around the island and everything, interacting with the zombies and stuff, and you have that the amazing, legendary Scooby-Doo song, Terror Time Again, playing, and it's just like, it's one of the most legendary scenes in all of Scooby-Doo. Like, everyone who grew up with that movie would recognize the name of that song instantly. In the same way that they remember the Hex Girls. So it's not quite the same, but it kind of reminded me of that, of the two bullies running around this corn maze like Scooby and Shaggy, running around the island, coming face to face with all these horrors, while this awesome, like, horror-themed rock song is playing. Like, yeah, it's very reminiscent of that. I like the costumes. We got to see all of our Loud family wearing and stuff, the different stuff. And yeah, definitely the twins with their multiple costumes, and especially the salt and pepper shaker, really made me think of Dipper and Mabel from Gravity Falls. Because I think a salt and pepper shaker were one of the costumes that they had mentioned in the Summerween episode. But yeah, it's just like that was fun. And I just really just liked it. The pacing was good, the comedy was good, like it's relatable. Like, yeah, of course kids are gonna want to go for like the good candy. And of course kids are gonna want to go for the most candy and figure out ways to do so. Um And I like how they didn't make a deal out of the older siblings helping with the corn maze. Like, they didn't, like, make this big thing about, oh, they're the older siblings, so they can't go trick-or-treating. No, they didn't do that at all. They're just helping out with the corn maze because they thought it'd be fun. Even the mom's helping out, Rita. So it's like, I like that because I've seen it in so many different shows throughout the years. It's like, oh, teenagers, we're too old to trick or treat. That's for kids. And no, it's fucking not. These teenagers could be out on Halloween going to these parties that are having all this alcohol and drugs and shit. And instead, like, you're saying, like, they can't instead be going out and getting some, like, harmless candy while dressing up in costume? How is that a bad thing? How is that, like, everyone loves candy, and everyone loves dressing up. Why do you think cosplay is such a massive thing? I mean, sure, I wouldn't say, like, as an adult you would necessarily go out trick-or-treating, but, like, let teenagers go. When this past Halloween last year, it was actually the first time I've ever sat on the porch and given out candy on Halloween. And, I mean, they were just, like, some dum-dum suckers, although those are pretty good, that I got from Dollar Tree. But still, it's like there were a couple occasions where teenagers, like, notably teenagers, not, like, just very young, like 13 or 14, but, like, more like 16 or 17, they came up, not with younger siblings or anything, alone. They were dressed up, and they came up, and I gave them candy. Because it's like, out of what they could be doing, yeah. And here's the thing, with what I was saying earlier, there's nothing wrong with going to parties and drinking necessarily. Drugs I have an issue with, but there's nothing wrong with going to parties. There's nothing wrong with drinking as long as you do it responsibly. Um, and all of that stuff. And it's like, but still, it's still a lot safer and better, and especially with teenagers who do tend to go overboard a lot more often with parties. It's definitely just a lot better for them to be out there trick-or-treating and having fun. Wearing fun costumes, getting some delicious candy, yeah. So I like that they didn't make any kind of deal out of that idea. Um, I mean, heck, even these bullies were presumed to be teenagers, and they were kind of implying that they were thinking about trick-or-treating themselves, even though they ended up doing something completely different and bad for sure. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with trick-or-treating that as teenagers. That's all I'm saying. Anywho, the second episode here was also very good. So it's an episode about them throwing a surprise party for their mom, for Rita. And they want to kind of leave Lenny out of it and make her think they're not doing anything because she tends to spoil the surprise. And we've seen this before. We've seen this before in the series where she spoils things like that. This is not a new development for her character. So I like that they're bringing in continuity for Lenny. At the same time, though, we see that they're trying to throw this party and all while distracting her and eventually just having her go to this store, like, as she said, like, what, 3 bus rides away? They get her out of the house and get her away so they can put on this party for the mom, and we find out they're kind of crap at it. None of them are doing well. Luna, the music Luna wants to play is just nothing that would be appropriate and good for their mother's birthday. The food made by Lynn and the one twin, I want to say Lola, but I can never remember for sure. But it's like the cake is way too sweet and covered in literal just piles of sugar. And the sub is like way too spicy. And then you have the balloons, which are just this horribly ugly shade of brown. The guests are horrible just because Lisa assumes that because they're the person that their mother spends the most time around means that they're one she'd like the most to be there. And so they put together, though, that that Lenny is actually the one thing that always makes these parties so great. Even if the surprise ends up being ruined, the parties themselves end up being great because Lenny is just really good at that. Because she pays attention to other people. She may not be the smartest person. She may not be the most considerate of the surprise, you could say. But she cares very much about others, and especially about her family, and she pays attention. She knows what her family likes. So even if the surprise ends up being, well, not a surprise, it still ends up being a great party. And so they make the apology at the end, and they come to terms with it, and she's cool with it. They even invite her to be their official party planner. And we still see that she's kind of crappy at keeping secrets, but still, her heart is in the right place, and she definitely knows how to do a good party and knows exactly who to invite, how to decorate, everything to make and get. Like, I kind of made a joke that she's like the Pinkie Pie of this show. But I mean, think about it. In MLP, Pinkie Pie is known for her parties. She's always good at them because she pays attention to what her loved ones like. She knows what they like. She knows what they're into. She knows how to throw the perfect party for them. And it's kind of the same thing with Lenny here. The only difference is Pinkie Pie does understand the importance of a secret. And she knows how to keep secrets. except in one episode, which completely tried to destroy that continuity. But we don't talk about the one where Pinkie Pie knows. That was a terrible episode. But getting off track here. The point is, this was a really fun and cute episode. I like that the focus of it seemed to both be on Lenny and against her, in a way. Which makes sense for the plot at hand. And I like how they did realize their mistake in the end and made it right. And like even before they came home and found Lenny there and everything ready and all, they had been actively going to try and find her because they wanted to make it right. So yeah, everything worked out, and it was really just fun. Plus, seeing them all try to put on the party and failing at it was interesting. It was just a really interesting idea. But yeah, I really like that. So these were both very good episodes. Next week we should probably be back to our 3 a week, and I think the next 2 weeks will be our last 2 for season 2 of Loud House. I think that's all we have left. But yeah, I'm excited to see what we have left for this season, and then we'll move into season 3 down the road. But in the meantime, tell me in the comments below what you thought of these 2 episodes of the Loud House Season 2. What did you think of Tricked, both the song and the episode? What did you think of the different costumes the Loud siblings wore? And what do you think of the second episode here, no spoilers, of the way they handled things and eventually came to realize their mistakes and work to make it right? And what do you think about just the fact that Lenny is kind of this show's Pinkie Pie in a way? Just a little, just not as smart, I would say, because I think Pinkie Pie's a little more together in that way, surprisingly enough. Nothing against Lenny, by the way. I love Lenny. She's like my favorite character right now. Luna is very close, but I think Lenny's my favorite of the Loud siblings. So, but yeah, tell me your thoughts down in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,